Welcome to Unapologetically Sensitive, where you can learn, relate, laugh, and maybe even live a bolder, brighter life. I'm your host, Patricia Young, licensed clinical social worker. This is a weekly podcast where we explore the strengths we have because of our sensitivity and some of the challenges it poses as well. The information in this podcast is not a substitute for help from a licensed mental health professional. Hey there. This is a bonus episode 12 and part of a 30-day podcasting challenge that's going to run through the end of this month, November 2018. Today was kind of fun. My son Daniel, I have twins, Josh and Daniel was home for the weekend from college, and I asked if he'd be willing to sit down and chat with me. So we recorded 3 short episodes, and this is one of the 3 episodes. It was actually pretty cool taking time to talk with my son. So one of the things that I asked him was, what's it like to have a mom who's a therapist? We also talked about, and this is kind of controversial, that Daniel's senior year of high school, he started to engage in behaviors that really were not in alignment with our family's values. And so this was really a challenge about how we wanted to handle it. So I talk about this with him. One of the things I have to say is he had no idea what I was going to talk to him about. He's very open, but he does kind of pontificate, acting like he knows a lot about a lot. And I think he's a young kid who's just saying what he thinks, and I'm not sure how much validity there is to what he's saying. I love my son, and I'm not trying to discount him, but I do want to be honest about, my thoughts about how he shares. The other thing is, I think I was being a little manipulative at the end. I'm just kind of laughing at myself. I interviewed both of my kids, and every time I end up hanging up from either of the boys or I talk to them, I always tell them I love them. But I think there was a little part of me that wanted you all to hear that my son says he loves me. So I'm just owning it. And bless his heart, on every interview I say with him, I love you. And he goes, I love you too. So anyways, I hope you enjoy this. If you happen to live in San Diego and you want to work with me, jump on over to my website, patriciayounglcsw.com. All right, enjoy the show. Hey, Daniel.
Hello.
I'm kind of excited to be here recording with you.
Yeah, this is a first.
I know. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what is it like to have a mom who's a therapist, honestly?
So I guess it's just like you were just really good at staying calm whenever I have something to tell you. So I think I like it.
Because I know we had a little disagreement once when you said, stop therapizing me. And my perspective was, I show up the same way, whether you're my kid or my client, or, I'm just pretty consistent how I show up in the world.
No, yeah, I was just mad that one day and I said that. That wasn't true.
Can we talk about when you started to engage in things that are not really within our family's value system, but the talk that we had was, my relationship with you is more important than anything else, and I wanted to find a way to be here for you, to let you know that these aren't my values, but that the relationship came first. How was that for you?
It was definitely, at first, it was it really opened my eyes, and I felt comfortable because even though I was making these decisions that weren't in our family's values, I still knew that no matter what, you would love me. And it did help because I was not making those decisions nearly as much as I was before you had communicated this to me. So I feel like I just knew no matter what happened, I'd have a fallback.
That makes my heart feel warm. Because you were sneaking around for a while and we didn't know what was going on. And then when we found out, that was kind of a big deal for us and our family.
Yeah, and it was a weight off my shoulders kind of because I was snooping around and doing this stuff without you, after specifically being told not to do this kind of stuff, or indirectly being told not to do this stuff and still making those decisions. So once it came out, it was oh darn, my parents know what I'm doing now, but at the same time it was I don't have to worry about sneaking around anymore because everything's out on the table.
Yeah, I think this is an area where I think it's very controversial, but I think parents feel like they can come down on their kids because, you're living in our home and these are our rules. But what my The reason why I didn't do that is because my thought is you're probably just still going to sneak around and do this stuff, and we're not going to know what's going on with you. And really, my relationship with you is what is most important. And while some of the behaviors you were engaging in, as a mom, yeah, I'm already a worrier. I already get nervous.
Mhm.
I had to deal with that, but I really wanted to be able to know that you could come to me, that we could talk about it. I mean, what do you see with kids your age going through this with their families? How do other families deal with this stuff? Do you know?
A lot of families don't know. A lot of parents are uneducated about it, and they think that their kid is just this straight A student who is not snooping around, not sneaking out, not doing stuff that he should be doing, or she. So they're just not aware because it's not even on their radar, and they just think, oh no, my son would never be doing that. My daughter would never be going out to a party after her curfew. My son would never be doing X, Y, and Z. So I think talking about it actually does make a difference, and it's awkward, of course, for the kid, and it's probably more disappointing for the parents, but it's definitely awkward for a kid because it was awkward for me, and it was uncomfortable. But I feel like a lot of parents are just not even in touch with what their kids are actually doing, and like they have a perception of what their kids are doing, but in reality they're doing a bunch of different stuff that they don't want their parents to know about, and they have these different faces that they put on. And there's a face for when you're with your parents, there's a face for when you're with your friends, there's a face for when you're with your girlfriend, like there's just all these faces. And I feel like if you don't talk about it, then you just have all like these personas that you're putting on, and you lose touch with who like you really are.
Is that stressful having to figure out who you're supposed to be when you're in all these different roles?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you and your friends talk about the relationships that y'all have with your parents and how honest your friends are with their parents?
Oh yeah, a lot of the time we talk about stuff that our parents would have no idea that like we're doing.
And so, do your friends have close relationships with their parents? Do they talk to their parents? Do their parents know the things that are going on? I guess I'm trying to get a comparison between, I only know what my relationship is with you and your brother. And I really don't know how much kids talk to their parents when the kids are doing stuff that maybe are not in alignment with the parents' values.
I'd say a lot of kids have a good relationship with their parents, but they don't talk to their parents about the stuff that they're really doing. So from far away, it may look like everything's doing okay and that the parents know everything that their child is doing, but in reality, if you take a closer look, really everything's fine, but there are stuff that child is doing that their parents are not aware of.
So, if I hear you correctly, that oftentimes kids will not disclose things to their parents because they are afraid of disappointing them, upsetting them, hurting them, that they feel like if their parents really knew what they were doing, that it would make their parents unhappy and it would impact their relationship with their parents.
Yeah, exactly. And me personally, and you know this, I don't keep much from you guys. I don't really have anything to keep, and like what I do keep to myself is really not, it's in my mind, and even if I were to tell you, it would not be a big deal, and it's not out of our family's values. It's just stuff that I'd rather keep personal to myself. But I do feel like, yeah, these kids are afraid that they're going to let their parents down. And even at an old age, even into like when at my age right now, 18, I'm legally an adult, and there's still stuff that I choose to keep from you guys. And it's not because I don't love you guys, or it's not because I think that it might let you guys down. It's just because I just choose to keep those to myself. But especially like high school age kids, 100% they're keeping stuff from their parents because they still want to be able to go out, and they don't want to be getting consequences for stuff that they could just not tell you and get away with it super easily.
Yeah. And, Dad and I know that you're an adult and that we don't expect you to come and tell us everything. There, I think especially the summer was challenging as, I call you and your brother kidults because you're kind of kids and you're sort of adults, but you're not really either. So I love the term kidult, and practicing adulting over the summer and letting go and figuring out, where do we let you guys have your freedom and have your privacy, because you need that. You're turning into young men right now, and we don't expect you to tell us everything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like a perfect example of like the kidult theory, or how you say it. Yeah, like every kid who has just turned 18, even 19, I don't think that you're fully an adult. I feel like you're still a kid, and nobody wants to grow up. I mean, I guess there are some kids who want to grow up, but nobody wants to have to adult and have to start when they start paying their own phone bills, when they start paying, when they move into an apartment, like when they're under, or when they get from under their parents' wing and they go out and fly on their own, then they're kind of stuck. And nobody likes having to do that. Nobody likes having to start doing stuff that you're not comfortable with. Like, even now, having to go out and buy food on my own and not having the luxury of you guys being there and just throwing everything in the cart. It's just like I'm still finding ways of adulting. And some of that adulting is keeping stuff from you guys because I feel like maybe you'll have a different view of me. And I'm saying this in a hypothetical sense, not me personally. Yeah.
That sounds really cheesy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know.
You don't have to apologize, love. That's okay. I think that's probably it. Thank you so much for taking time to hop on with me and do this recording.
Yes, of course. You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Mom.
You're welcome, son. I love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so grateful you took the time to listen. We have a Facebook group called Unapologetically Sensitive. I'm trying to build a community. If you're interested in joining, I'd love to have you join. If you have any questions or comments, you can reach out to me at unapologeticallysensitive@gmail.com. Remember, sensitivity is nothing to apologize for. It's our superpower. Have a blessed day.